Hello, folks. Silicon Steve Valley here. And let me get my ball cap off. You can see my beautiful face. We are talking about Smackdown live, of course, last night, happening right on Fox. And we have Roman Reigns and that story unfolding continuously. Now you're throwing in Seth Rollins. And, of course, the big news tonight, the return of the Rated R superstar Edge. He comes in during Roman's Universal Championship address and does a pretty good job of beating a whooping on Roman. Plus, almost gave him the concerto, but Jimmy Uso kind of playing the role of Jey Uso. And it's very interesting, and we're going to lead with that and that whole story, because when this night started, I wasn't sure. I don't pay attention to dirt sheets. I don't pay attention to Twitter, frankly, or social media in general. It's just something that I rather spend my time doing other things, like hang out with my dogs. So I don't know if there was a rumor of Edge coming back. I know there was a rumor he was going to come back eventually. Wasn't sure if it was known he was coming back tonight, so that surprise was still good for me. So I really enjoyed that. But going into that, I said to myself, well, because they weaved in Seth Rollins in this little storyline with Roman Reigns. Basically saying he wants a shot at Roman Reigns earlier in the night. And the way the night was playing out, Jimmy Uso said he wanted to prove himself, or Roman said he had to prove himself. And Jimmy said, okay, what does that mean? Paul Heyman was brilliant tonight. In everything he touched, Paul Heyman continues to be one of the best managers, advocates, whatever you would like to call them. Beautiful valet, Paulie. But any way you want to call it, Paul Heyman continues to be the gold standard in what a managerial advocate role would be. So continuing to do that. Great promo. Even put over himself, which I absolutely loved, when he said he had a lot of weaknesses, but being an inarticulate is not one of them. So kudos to Heyman Hustle, rocking that. But that being said, as the night progressed, it looked like, because Jimmy needed to prove himself, and then you had Seth Rollins saying he wants a shot at Roman Reigns. I thought it was a really good way to include Seth Rollins and Jimmy Uso, and I thought the direction they were going to go in was that they were going to have Seth Rollins take on Jimmy Uso, and if Jimmy Uso loses, Seth Rollins gets a shot at Roman Reigns somewhere down the line, whether it be next week or a pay-per-view, what have you. And that would cause some strife. And then I thought you would really have all these moving pieces moving brilliantly. So I was a little disappointed when I saw the perennial get-over guy, Dolph Ziggler, who has been thrown in there for the last almost decade of just getting other guys over, have a good match with him and get him over, and that includes Dean Ambrose back in the day at SummerSlam. That's the guy they give. Hey, Dolph Ziggler could go, can get other talent over, give it to them. So once I saw Dolph Ziggler was facing Jimmy Uso, I knew Uso was going to win. I was hoping they were going to have Seth Rollins versus Jimmy Uso in the main event, and that's what they could have done, and they could have had the championship address earlier in the night. When that happened, I was like, all right, and I was a little disappointed. And then I'm thinking, well, then you could have Jimmy and Jey at SummerSlam. You could have basically Roman turn on Jimmy, beat the living shit out of him for failing him, and then Jey can come out and look like he's going to save his brother, but then take it out on his brother, and then you can have those two clash, and then eventually Jey doing essentially what Roman did to Jey, Jey would do to Jimmy, in terms of beating him to a point where he would have to acknowledge Roman. That's what I thought that would be a cool way to go about it. That's what I was thinking in my medicated on medical marijuana mind at the time. But, much to my happy surprise, Roman comes out at the end of the night. Paul Heyman cuts a great promo. Roman's about to. He puts, and basically saying nobody is there to take Roman on. There is nobody. Pat McAfee, who continues to be the best overall broadcaster in professional wrestling, bar none, with all due respect to Jim Ross. Subtle pause for sarcasm. But Pat McAfee's absolutely an absolute natural talent, and he's brilliant. And so they kept on pushing that. Who is going to be the guy to step up to Roman? Now, Everyone's hearing John Cena on July 16th. July 16th, John Cena's coming back, and it's going to be him and Roman at SummerSlam. Hold the freaking phone. Edge, right as Roman is about to talk, comes out, takes out Roman Reigns, about to give him the concerto. Jimmy Uso shows his loyalties. He's 100% all in on the Roman Reigns train. He is fully acknowledging, but nobody's bitch, with the caveat, whatever that means, which will come to a head eventually. And Edge now looks like he's going to take on Roman Reigns. So if Roman was going to face at Money in the Bank, you're going to see Edge getting his one-on-one title. But where does this leave Seth Rollins? Because after Seth said he wanted to say something or maybe pay attention to the Roman Reigns Universal Address, Seth hinted that he was going to take part in it in some way. We did not hear from Seth the rest of the night, so it's interesting where Seth Rollins is going to be. But Edge, big time coming back. And I want to get into Edge a little bit, because I always liked Edge, but I never loved Edge, because in 2003, 2004, when Rock and Austin kind of checked out for the most part, I checked out too. It was just, I was going through own changes in my life. I was chasing women and booze. That became much more, and music. And that became much more of a priority. So I missed 2006. So a lot of things that have made Edge great, made Cena great, made even Randy Orton great to a lesser extent, I didn't see. So it took me a much longer time to appreciate John Cena, and I still don't fully appreciate Randy Orton the way a lot of people do. That being said, Edge has shot up to one of my favorite wrestlers ever. What he did, including bringing Randy Orton out of his shell in 2006, what Edge did was absolutely incredible, and what he continues to do. And he came back, and he just looked massive underneath his shirt. Looks like Edge either just started eating ice cream, or he got jacked. And I am assuming it's probably the latter. He got jacked. And so Edge is back, ready to go, better than ever. And, hey, look, I know he's pushing 50 if he's not 50 yet. Look, we've seen professional wrestlers can really tell great stories professional wrestlers can really tell their stories well into their 50s now. So, and they always could. I mean, Ric Flair was telling great stories in 2005, 2006. So keep that in mind. And now Ric Flair's still alive and kicking, so in his 70s. So we know this. So that being said, the rest of SmackDown I thought was a great show. Great qualifying match with Big E Langston. A couple of highlights just wanted to go over. Certainly, I did some live tweeting as I was watching, and I'll go through some of my notes here on SmackDown. But I just want to preface this the way I'm saying it. I am a huge AEW mark, big AEW wrestling fan. I think they have helped WWE up their game a little bit. But if I'm going to be an impartial, not unpartial, that's not a fucking word, Buster. Buster's my border collie mix over there. This is Zoe, my pug. And then my Labrador Burmese mountain dog mixes over there. He's a big motherfucker. Anyways, but if I'm going to be truthful and you're going to trust me, I got to call it down the line. So in AEW tonight, your main event is fucking Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or whatever Jim Ross is calling him this week, against Kenny Omega. Am I supposed to, for 1 second, believe Jungle Boy's got a chance and balls to beat Kenny Omega for that title tonight? Why am I going to watch tonight? Tully Blanchard and Conan, that's supposed to make me fucking take my Saturday night and watch AEW? AEW needs to up their game. And the reason being, it's a nice segue, the reason being because SmackDown is by far the best television show in professional wrestling on the airwaves right now. It's just that simple. It really is just that simple. And I had to call it down the middle. You got Sami Zayn doing some amazing things. Every time Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, despite the creative structure of WWE, every time they get going, those guys do magic. Sami Zayn has non-stop entertained me. When he kicked it to Adam Pearce, I forget his name sometimes. When they kick it to Adam Pearce, I swear to God, and he said, in fact, you should just give me the Money in the Bank contract. And then, don't you start! You bitch! Don't you start! Love you. Sorry. That She doesn't fear me at all, by the way. She just thinks I'm an idiot. Look at her. She's like, what was that supposed to do? Anyways, hey, folks, I'm recording this live. I might edit that out. I might not. Who knows? Depends how lazy I feel. But the bottom line here is, you have with Sami Zayn when he did the Money in the Bank contract offer to just give it to him. Like, you know what? Honestly, you should just give me the contract. He's like, think about all the paperwork, or he said something to the effect of, think about all the paperwork and the headaches to make the match you'll have to deal with. And then after Adam Pearce said, no, you have to have a last man standing match with Kevin Owens, Sami at the end of it's like, so giving me the contract is completely off the table. So you gotta love Sami Zayn, the absolute audacity of Sami Zayn, continuing to be one of the best heels and one of the best entertaining parts of SmackDown, and that's saying a lot. We also saw Liv Morgan. I want to say something with the presentation of some of the wrestlers, and I'm not going to make it about just because she's a woman. I'm not going to say it's all the women, but Liv Morgan, this is her last bastion of the Riot Squad. Ruby Riot was just released. So Liv Morgan now starts completely fresh, starts completely over, and she's not thrown in a ridiculous lesbian quarrel with Lana, whatever the fuck that was, for like a week. I still don't know. So whatever. So you have an opportunity to have her shine on her own. Let her entrance music play a little bit. Let people get to know her entrance music. Let people get to know this new Liv Morgan. This is the one who's going to be flying solo now, bar none. No connection to Ruby Riott. No connection to Sarah Logan. Let that music play. Let us get to know the music. So when that music plays, Liv Morgan. Just saying. From a creative standpoint. So Liv Morgan comes out. I think she cuts a great promo. I think she has all the tools. She's got a good look to her. Adorable little underdog. Kind of like in many ways like a bizarro Alexa Bliss back in the day. When I say that, the correlations are obviously she's darker. She's more punk. She's more, if that's what she's going for. I mean, I think she has a piece of that Ruby Riott punk vibe with her. She's holding a lot of the Ruby Riott gear that she had when she was in the Riot Squad, particularly the last time around. Not sure if she's going to get new gear, but I think she might be leaving it now for a little ode to her friends. She was very dear friends with them. She still is, I'm sure. So, for me, I think Liv Morgan has a real opportunity. She's got a couple wins over Carmella. It seems to be a huge underdog, two shocking victories. Is it really that shocking? I mean, I know Carmella's a champion now, but I don't think she's I don't think beating her is as big of a deal as possibly some people are trying to play it out to be. That being said, Liv Morgan is on the up. Give her an opportunity. Don't rush her. Give her an opportunity to shine. She's young. She's got a long way to go. But Liv Morgan, big-time star, and she's a future champion. Easily. Guaranteed. I mean, you could see her against anyone and have a really good match with them. And if she's the babyface underdog and she's getting an opportunity to cut some good promos, and you give her an opportunity to build that character, which is partly the entrance, I think Liv Morgan's got a very, very bright future in the very near future. Couple other things. Jey Uso, Dolph Ziggler. I fast-forwarded through the match because I knew Jimmy was going to win, not Jay. I apologize. I knew Jimmy was going to win, and you saw the mind games and the looking for approval that Jay was doing with Roman initially. Jimmy's doing the same thing. Looking for Roman's approval. Roman doesn't give it. He's busy doing his own thing. And now Jimmy's going to have to realize Roman is thinking on a completely different level. This is talking about in character. Roman is thinking on a completely different level. Roman is about to go out and kick it to the entire WWE universe. His entrance is more of a draw. Just him walking down with that new music is more of a draw and more entertaining to me than the Dolph Ziggler-Jimmy Uso match. Frankly. Sorry, I said it. So, that being said, I really, really love that with the surprise of Edge, that what I thought was going to happen, my early disappointment. WWE, you surprised me in a beautiful way. Kudos to you. You don't do it often, and when you do, I love it. So, great job, Edge. Amazing comeback. And there's a bunch of other stuff. And there is a bunch of other stuff that we're going to get into that I tweeted. So please follow me at Real Steve Valley. We're all listed as High Spots and Cheap Pops on Twitter. Check us out, folks. This was Silicon Steve Valley for High Spots and Cheap Pops Smackdown review. We're going to try to do this every Saturday morning. Thank you so much for making us part of your Saturday morning and your professional wrestling journey. This is the Silicon One, Steve Valley. Namaste. Here and smoke some weed.